Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another CommunityFIT, a Adjusting to Change Toolkit class. I'm your host, James, and this is our last session. You can see Bob's legs moving right here. Don't worry, Bob the dog will make an appearance here in a bit. Today's our last class of the series. I'm going to do a little bit of talking at the beginning of this, but while I'm talking, if you want to drop into the chat, either the chat or a Q&A, your choice, if you have any questions about anything we've covered in the last 6 weeks, anything on the nervous system toolkit, anything on any of this series has been heavy on meditation and working with like self-reflection and changing perception and psychological fitness. So if there's any remaining questions on those, feel free to drop them into the chat. So, like I said, today is the last class of this series, but don't worry, we are going to take a 2-week break. And on May 7th, Wednesday, May 7th, we launch the next series of midweek desk stretch. And so that would be the next series of this class, Adjusting to Change Toolkit class, on Friday, May 9th. Here are the links right here in the chat. So if you want to start signing up now, you can do that early. You can just get that off of your plate. You'll get all of the invitations, but you will have to sign up. And you will be getting emails in the future about this, so you can sign up then, or Raymond has dropped them into the chat. Either way works. Next series of this class, we're going to be working a lot on cognitive reappraisal and kind of bringing in some other stuff. What is that? Well, it's sort of the continuation of what we have been working on. So psychological fitness is sort of the fortitude to go in and deal with things in the moment a little bit differently. And I think cognitive reappraisal is more like the resilience side of that. After the stuff has happened, how do we change the story? How do we change our feelings around things that it's like you've gone? I think what we've gone through this series is like, as I'm approaching change, how do I approach it? And after I've gone through change, and maybe it didn't go as well as I wanted, or stuff happened, life happened, how do I reappraise that? So that's what we'll be working on the next series. So I don't see any questions coming up, which means that today will just be a review session. And I get an emoji, hearts, a thumbs up, a whatever for anyone who is new to this class. Do we have anyone who this is your very first session with us? Well, okay, cool. Well, welcome. So we have at least one, maybe two new folks here. So my encouragement for you is to do what feels right today. Again, this is going to be a review. So we're going to kind of move through some different things. There will be some stuff for you to latch onto. And I always say this with any class, but it's really, really true for working with the nervous system. More isn't more. Going and adding in more and more stuff is not the point of this class. Meaning, if this is your first class, there's zero expectation for you to do every single practice that we go through today. I'm going to guide you through. You can follow me. There will also be moments where I invite, because we have people on here who have been with us for weeks, months, even years now throughout iterations of these and other classes, who have a practice and are just coming here for community. So everyone is expected and advocated to kind of do what works best for you. So how do we know what works best for us? Let's start off with that review. In the moment, you may notice your body giving you signals that the nervous system regulation practices that we're practicing are working for you. What are those anatomical signals? Well, one of them will be a change in breathing. Typically, it will be like a yawn, something like that, or an exaggerated exhalation of sorts. That is your body's way of telling you like there's a regulation change going on. You may also notice like a gulping swallow. That is another physiological sign that your body is going through a system or a state change. You might also notice your heart rate kind of slows down, your body kind of softens. You may even notice like a stomach gurgle. Stomach gurglings, that kind of digestion or like hungry belly sound, does not always mean digestion or hungry belly. Sometimes it is your rest and digest state, which is the opposite of fight or flight state. Rest and digest is sort of relaxed, here, present, available state. And sometimes your body will send up those signals. The other thing is to kind of tap into those mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices are really about paying attention to context and variability. What am I feeling right now, and how does that change over time? And what did I do or what happened to make these things change? You might notice your muscle systems feel a little softer. You might notice your heart rate slows down. You might notice your breathing changes, and maybe it's the yawn, or maybe it's just like I'm now aware of how I'm breathing. You may also notice that the vibe of the moment changes. Maybe your thoughts slow down. Maybe you just feel a little more present. Maybe you're less worried or concerned. Maybe none of that changes, and that's also noticing. Maybe you are having a hard time noticing any of those things. And to me, that's probably one of the most pivotal noticings. Like, everything you said, James, I'm just not aware of. And isn't that interesting that you are not aware? Something in you has conditioned you to not be aware of yourself and space and time, right? All of those things are noticings. And so we're going to first introduce or revisit our nervous system toolkit. And nervous system toolkit is a way I think of self-regulation or somatic practices, and it helps keep them organized for me. And for you, if you're kind of newer to self-regulation, nervous system practices, it's a way for you to categorize and understand which versions of things work best for you. And the categories, the tool categories are breath work, sensory foraging, therapeutic touch, movement practices, and vocalization practices. And the vast majority of practices that I teach here, that you can Google, that you can YouTube, that you can go take other classes on, read books on, generally speaking, fall into one of those five categories. Now, those five categories are not practices in and of themselves. That is what we're going to explore right now, is practices that fit into these buckets, right? First series of stuff, the first bucket is breath work. So do a noticing, kind of notice how you feel. And let's start off with the simplest of all breath works. Taking a regular human being inhale and an exaggerated exhale. Now you may notice some congestion. If you're in Sacramento, it's allergy season. So breath work, even if it's historically one of your favorites, may not be one of your favorites right now, and that's okay. Also, you're going to just kind of have to push through it and just kind of notice and go, yeah, I'm congested. Maybe it's not as big, it's not as robust. And that's fine too. We're not looking for an end destination, we're looking for a process. So try it again. Normal human being inhale, exaggerated exhale. And if that feels good to you, if that feels interesting, if that's new for you, stay there. For the rest of us, let's move on to a physiological sigh. Physiological sighs are a double inhale followed by a single exaggerated exhale. That's a big inhale, full inhale, single exaggerated exhalation. If you can go in through the nose, all out through the mouth, all the better, but make it work for you. So we're going to do five of those, or continue to do your regular human being exaggerated exhale. Here we go. Inhale, inhale, exhale. More. 3 more. Last two. one more. Two options. Which one did you prefer, if either? Introducing the third option. This one is going to be take in a big breath, hold, hold for as long as you can, longer than you think you can. And I don't know when that is. So when you feel ready, exhale. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Push the air out. Squeeze the air out, like wringing it out. No more exhale, no more exhale, no more exhale. Like you're getting it all out. And then pause and hold your breath. Hold your breath like 1 second longer than what's comfortable for you to hold your breath. And then, almost like a spring or a rubber band recoils, inhale, hold, 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 hold. When you have no more left to give, exhale, exhale, exhale. Squeeze it all out like you're wringing out a wet sponge. Hold your breath 1 second longer than you think you can. Rebound, inhale, hold, and go through the process 3 more times. You can do that. You can do physiological sigh or the exaggerated exhale. You choose. Another 15, 20 seconds, and then just notice. Notice what, if anything, has shifted for you. Do you like that? Is that a practice you should do more of? And then close your eyes if it feels okay, and just kind of notice. Notice anything going on in your body. It might be good, it might be bad, it might be neutral. Maybe you want to notice that shoulder that kind of gives you problems. Maybe you want to notice what's weighing on your heart. Maybe you want to notice the excited thought. And just say, I welcome you. I welcome whatever this is. I see you and I accept you. I see you and I accept you. Now, you can stay with either the bucket of breath work or that welcoming meditation, or follow me into sensory foraging. Sensory foraging is just that, where we are actively paying attention to the stuff that's coming in through sight, sound, touch, feel, all of those things. So, first things first, we're going to go through an orientation practice. 70% of us are visually dominant in our senses. So, start to just look around your space and slow it down, almost like you're receiving the room instead of staring at the room. And begin to objectively notice stuff in the space and name it. Name it to yourself. It doesn't even have to be out loud. What that sounds like in your own head is I see books and a plant and a speaker, a wall, and art and a light and a desk with a phone and a computer, and water, more books, some more art, a mirror, a door. Whatever's behind you, above you, to the right and left, beneath. And as you look around the room, maybe you even begin to spot something that brings you joy, something that kind of sparks something in you. Maybe it's a photo or a plant, a picture, a dog, a cat, whatever it is, and just allow yourself to kind of gaze and receive whatever that is. I always tell people if there's nothing in your space that kind of brings you some joy, you need to reevaluate what's in your space. So just kind of notice whatever that is. Notice how you notice. What changes for you? Do you feel any softening or do you feel kind of amped up? If you feel amped up, maybe it's not bringing you joy. Maybe it's bringing you a different emotion. Maybe you look for something else. Maybe you look for something that kind of settles you a bit. Now, you can also close your eyes and start to listen. Listen to the sounds in the room. What's the loudest sound in the room? What's the closest to you sound? Is there a sound further away? How many different sounds can you hear inside of your space, outside of your space? And then open up your eyes and just like kinesthetically sense the temperature in the room right now. Are there any breezes? Sense your clothing. How do you know, not in your mind, but how does your body know you're wearing what you're wearing right now? How does it know you're sitting in what you're sitting in, or standing where you're standing, or lying where you're lying? What is being touched? Does your back feel supported or not supported? Could you let yourself sink into the support a little bit more? And when you're ready, gently close your eyes. And I want you to picture a word, conjure up a word that makes you feel free, that makes you feel open, that makes you feel at ease. What word might that be? Happy, settled, calm, excited, relaxed, open? Like what word might that be? And we can go into the freedom process meditation. I am, and I'm just going to pick a word. I am relaxed in freedom. I am relaxed and freedom. And just notice, does that settle your nervous system or does it heighten it? If it settles your nervous system, just keep repeating to yourself. Maybe you want to add in a breath work. Maybe you want to close your eyes and listen or feel as you say that. I am relaxed in freedom. Your word is likely very different than relaxed. But if it's bringing in a fight or flight, if you're reluctant, if you're like, but I'm not relaxed, I don't feel free, then maybe you change the language. I am resistant to relaxation and freedom. I am resistant to openness and freedom. I am resistant to joy and freedom. I am resistant, just whatever it is. Just acknowledging the experience. We're not trying to change anything, we're acknowledging. We are naming the quality of what is happening in the moment. I am relaxation and freedom, or I'm resistant to relaxation and freedom. And maybe there's some self soothing, some self regulation that happens with some breath work, or some orientation, or listening, or kinesthetically sensing into support. And then notice how you've shifted from the beginning of class till now. And is this a direction you'd like? Which meditation helped more? Which tool helped more? As you begin to create your library of what works specifically for you and your nervous system right now. The next category is therapeutic touch. So let's bring our hands together, get them warmed. We're going to take our nice warm hands and we're going to place them onto the jaw, onto the throat, or the chest, or the belly. Those are your major kind of like hot spots, right? How do you know which one works best? It will just feel the best. Or maybe you'll yawn, or you're do a big swallow. Now, if the touch is more irritating than it is therapeutic, maybe you want to try some havening and we just like do some hand stroking or some soft facial strokes or upper arms. And if the therapeutic hold or stroke doesn't work for you, maybe it's a tap. Maybe it's a tap on the chest. Maybe it's a tap on the forehead. And here's the thing I find with the therapeutic touch category. It's really subtle, and with subtlety often comes like tremendous shifts in power, but it takes a while, right? Kind of goes underneath everything. So don't expect that the touch and the stroke and the taps are going to change things as quickly as what a breath work will often change things. But this is usually like more like sustainable. It's like it kind of creeps in and kind of tackles some stuff in a different way. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. Just a few more seconds, maybe another 30 seconds to kind of explore and play. Now, end with your hands somewhere, chest, belly, by your side, whatever it is. If it feels comfortable, allow your eyes to close and just sense if you can be embodied, if you can sense into, we're going to go into a somatic meditation here. My hand is currently over my heart. I'm going to sense into whatever is underneath my heart, right? I could say, can you be present within your chest, within your heart, within your lungs? But that often puts us on the outside. Preferential is to almost be on the inside looking out. It might be easiest to think of that in your headspace, right? Like you are in your brain looking on the backside of your head, or you're in your head looking out through the backside of your eyes, or you're inside of your own head looking out of your ear canals. You might want to think of it as your hands and be present in your hands, almost as if your hands were gloves and your real hands were slipped inside. Or your hands on your chest, you may want to feel your heart and lungs expand with each inhale and sink with each exhale. This meditation, if this technique isn't working for you, go back to one that was. This is your time, your space, your class. And then take a moment and just notice. Notice what is shifted, what worked for you. Again, you're creating that library. The fourth tool category is movement, right? And you can make it big. You can get up and dance. You can go for a run. You can go for a walk. You can go work out. You can do yoga. You can do Pilates. The fact is, none of them are better. None of them are the correct things to do for your nervous system unless you enjoy doing them. So pick a movement practice that brings you joy in the moment. All of those movement practices are wonderful for building muscle, losing weight, maintaining cardiovascular and pulmonary health, blah, blah, blah. But if you're doing it as a nervous system regulation practice, the caveat is you have to enjoy it while you're doing it. Right? You can't be doing it and hating it and expecting to get some sort of nervous system benefit out of it. It's almost like you've got to be enjoying it as you're doing. And it doesn't mean that it's pleasant all the time, but there's a joy quality. Movement doesn't have to be big, though. Movement can be small, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to start off by just rocking right and left in your chair. And it can be big, it can be small. You can think of it as sort of like seaweed blowing or kind of being moved by a current, or blades of wheat grass being blown by wind. One of my favorite somatic movement practices is actually swinging on swing sets. And in order to get the benefit of that, like you've got to do it for what feels like an exaggerated period of time, like 5, 10 minutes. Like getting on and being on a swing for 20 ins and outs isn't doesn't work. It doesn't get you there. It's almost like a prolonged movement over and over and over. And I think the same is true here. Like the longer you do it, the more you kind of settle and sink into the practice. Now, if this one is more irritating than it is therapeutic, you can go forward and back. It's almost like a flexion extension. Cats and cows. You could also add in a shake. Shaking it all off. Just some options. Different tools that fit into that category. And then stop and notice. And then from there, we're going to go into the zooming out practice. So, eyes closed, eyes opened, your choice. I invite you to notice a sensation or a feeling within the body. Maybe there's even a story behind it, right? Like, I'm mad, I'm in pain. I'm mad at so and so. I'm in pain because I slept weird and my neck hurts. I am anxious because I have to do a presentation later today. I am in grief over the big change that is happening. I am whatever it is. Take a few moments and just consider, I am what? I am what? And just because it's going to likely be different than what a lot of people are feeling right now, I'm going to choose my own word and I'm just going to say, like, I'm refreshed, right? I am refreshed. I am refreshed because of fill in the blank, right? And then we're going to change that. And instead of saying I'm refreshed, I'm going to say I'm feeling refreshed. It's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's an awareness. I'm feeling refreshed. I am refreshed. I am refreshed because I have a change in workload and it feels lighter, right? And instead, I'm just going to simplify it like I'm feeling refreshed. Switching the statement. I am refreshed because story time. I am feeling refreshed. Third sentence. I am aware of feeling. I am aware of feeling. That's a full sentence. I am aware of feeling. Fourth full sentence. I am aware of being aware. I am aware of being aware. I'm in pain because I slept weird last night. I'm feeling in pain. I am aware of feeling. I am aware that I'm aware. Complete sentences. Fourth meditation, zooming out practice. Last of the categories is vocalizations. We're going to start off with a simple sigh. Audible sighs. Could also be a hum. Last meditation is a vocal meditation. What word, what sentence, what phrase do you need to get off of your chest? And maybe it's kind of hard to say in the environment you're in right now. Maybe it's not the time and the place. Maybe you need to go to your car and say it, scream it, cry it. Maybe you need to go into a pillow and scream it, cry it, say it. Maybe you need to go into a different room. Maybe you need to say it to someone. But that's going to be the last meditation. What vocalization, what words need to come out? And if you're not quite ready, translate it down to a sigh or a hum. So, thank you so much for joining us for this series about nervous system regulation and some of the psychological fitness. Raymond has put it up again. We are going to be taking a 2-week break. We will be back for this class on Friday, May 9th. We have the signups right there. Bob, do you want to say hi or anything? No? Sorry. Sorry. Our talent is sometimes moody. So, thank you all for joining us. I don't see any questions or anything. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and that will be our last series for this season. And then we're going to take a hiatus for a while. So please join us again. Sign up for those links. Um, I know we need those t-shirts. I don't know when or how that's going to happen. Again, I'm an affiliate. I don't control the t-shirts. And thank you all so much. You are so welcome. We got some thank yous. Bob, you got some thank yous over here. He is sound asleep. He's snoring. Thank you all so much. I will talk with you all, or I'll see you all later. Bye for now.